Yeah, tremendous victory for our team. Tip of cap to Drexel. They played their hearts out. Great team. I think, goalie had 18 saves, and that's, a big reason why, we couldn't run away. But I'm really proud of our kids. I think we stayed the course. Only 8 turnovers from the game for us, which is incredible in a championship game with so many emotions and craziness going on. But overall, we stayed the course. They went on runs. We talk about it all the time. Big games are big games because both teams are good. They're going to make plays. But overall, I think my statement is more at our program and our players. Like, no one believed in this group. Like, people could say whatever they want. Everybody thought Stony Brook was going to be different this year. And we weren't. And that's a tribute to our players, the coaches, our incredible coaching staff. And our players stepped up in a big way. I wanted this so bad. I couldn't sleep last night because I wanted these guys, to kind of put all that to rest. Because, people graduate, players graduate, tradition doesn't graduate. And our tradition here is excellence, dominance in the conference. I don't even know how many that is in a row in conference between the America East and as we transitioned into the CAA. Obviously, we're unscathed in the CAA, but that is a tribute to a lot of things. Our athletic trainer, our strength coach, our academic people, but most importantly, our players, and believing in what we do. And stepping up and being able to get it done. There's a lot. Everyone doubted that group except for the people that were in that room, and they stepped up in a monster way. It's next man up mentality, I could not be happier for them. I told them that before the game. I wanted this so bad for them, and our staff, the way this group was developed, and it's all the same. Only the names will change at Stony Brook.
Start with Dennis, we'll work our way around.
Hi, Joe. You just kind of talked about it. This is now your 11th straight conference championship. How has the program been able to sustain success through all those years?
Yeah, we have a magic wand that we sprinkle on our players. Now, our assistant coaches do an incredible job in just bringing the right players in here, players that fit. But there's a belief. I get asked this all the time, how do we do it? Because we don't have 5-star players out of high school. If we have a 4-star, but they leave here as those players, right? So I think for us, it's tradition. It's understanding. We've had leaders. I just picked up my phone after the game, and it was 20 alums texting about how happy they were. So, this group was doubted, but we didn't doubt them. Like, we knew we had the right pieces. We were really selective and bringing, we're not a big transfer portal school, but the ones we brought in knock it out of the park, and they crush it, and they fit our DNA, and they understand what it means to wear the uniform. And, our players have developed properly. Avery sat for 2 years. She's one of them. She's just crushed the record, because she was playing behind another All-American. So there's just a way of that we do it here, and I think it's consistency. It's empowering, for us. I'm not the easiest guy in the world to play for. I push them every day. There's no, there's nothing easy about winning. And people, there's not a country club mentality in our locker room. There's just a success and the blueprint to how we do it. Our assistant coaches are so Sydney's been with me for a long time. Claire Levy's an alum who coached a rear end off this year for a first-year assistant coach, top 10 defensive unit in the country. And Charlotte Wilmoth has been incredible with helping with both ends. There's another alum. And so there's consistency. They know how we do it, right? And then it's easier for the players to emulate with coaches that understand. We can have our staff is super close. And these guys understand. They feed off that. They understand. It's next man up. This kid didn't play a lot this whole year. It's bad coaching. So, but she stepped up today and scored 2 monster goals and is the MVP of the championship game. So, that's the way it's done here. And there's not a way. I get asked this all the time. What's the recipe? I don't know what the recipe is. It's like when my grandmother makes sauce. It just tastes better than everyone else's just because she does it her way, right? So, it's kind of that thing.
Would you consider the program a dynasty?
You have to. I mean, you have to. It's what we've done in our consistency in this program through the years. It's absurd. It really is, honestly, and it's crazy. And I don't think we appreciate it. I don't think I appreciate it enough. Like I'm also at that point in my career where the losses hurt more than I enjoy the wins. But yeah, it's definitely a dynasty. I mean, I could not be. When you win this many games in a row in a conference and winning, I was in my 14th year, so I guess with COVID, it's like 12 championships in a row. Yeah, I would say that's dynasty on steroids.
Yeah, Coach. So I mean, essentially second time playing Drexel in 2 weeks. How do you think that test of seeing them once played to your advantage, or maybe it hurt you guys?
I was concerned coming into the game because I thought we got the better of their goalie the first time, and she was guessing, and we got to good spots, and we didn't give her. And today she was on fire. I mean, 18 saves in a women's lacrosse game is absurd. So tip our cap to her. She proved why she's a great goalie. So we knew that would be better for them. The goaltending would be better. The draws, I thought they did a better job this time. I think we wound up winning by 1, and a great job by our unit and our coaches to adjust at halftime and make those proper tweaks to get us going there. But I think when you play in a team twice, it's about execution. We're not running anything that they haven't seen. They're not running anything we haven't seen. Now, I say that in tongue-in-cheek because they didn't see her, right? And it was a different matchup. They probably didn't expect, Ford to be doing what she did there. So there was some of that. And we did feel we had major depth advantage as far as how deep we go on our bench and our players. And, yeah, I mean, you can have a scouting report and, Riley McDonald came out of the game who's going to be an All-American, and Kylie went in her spot, and they didn't have the right matchup. And she made a great play, and then another great play. So I think it just comes down to execution, and that's what it comes down to. And we could have gotten discouraged. I mean, we could have went up by 3 a few times, and the goalie was making saves off her toes and her knees and elbows and everything. Like, she was sick. So, we stayed the course, stayed patient, didn't turn the ball over, made plays.
Yeah, and then Kylie, I mean, he just mentioned how you really didn't start the game, obviously. I mean, haven't gotten that much, just 9 goals this year, but I mean, 2 of them in the last 3 minutes of a conference title game. I mean, what goes into that? I mean, clutch aspect, if you will.
I mean, it's honestly just the support from my teammates. We push each other every day, and even in the huddle before the last goal, they were all telling me, you got it, it's on you. And I just feel like the camaraderie we have honestly just pushes me to be even better every day.
This one's for all 3 of the players. From an outside perspective, this was a thrilling game. Coach mentioned it back and forth. What was it for you guys experiencing that firsthand?
I think the first time, like you said, we got the best of their goalie. So coming into this game, we were like, they won it a lot, but we're number 1. We're the number 1 seed. Like, we got to come out with that confidence. And so to play in such a competitive game today, we really all were focusing on less mistakes, bigger plays. They're going to make big plays. Their goalie had an amazing game, but our defense did one more play better. You know what I'm saying? So I think the entire game as a whole, it was so thrilling. That's an amazing championship game. But we like it to be a little bit not as scary, definitely. But it was a fun game. It was a fun game to play in.
Yeah, I also agree with that. I feel like it's a lot more fun when it's tight instead of a big blowout game, which Coach might not agree with.
Yeah, I definitely disagree.
But
I had to work in the 4th quarter, you guys.
But it just makes the win mean so much more, and all the hard days in the off season just really pay off. And for me, this game is really special because in my undergraduate career, we lost 3 conference championships in a row, so to finally get one means so much.
And I mean, it's definitely the team as a whole. We knew we needed this. We knew we had it from the beginning. Even when we came out of the locker room, the energy was just a little bit different today than it usually is. And just everyone having each other's backs, just pushing each other to be better every day. Obviously, I like that it was fun at the end.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like both teams played their hearts out.
Yeah, I think also it's. I think you look at numbers. 'Cause I think numbers tell a story, right? I think the ground balls in the 4th quarter numbers was 6-1 us. The shots were 11-2. Our defense held them to 2 shots. They canned both, right? And then the turnovers were 3-0. Then we didn't turn the ball over in the fourth quarter. And the saves were 7-0 then. So, the numbers, that's basically what it came down to. When Cap ripped the net off the hinges and that, on the man-up goal at the end of the third quarter, I think we were feeling good. We got some great opportunities. We didn't score, and then they score, right? And then they tie it up. And, I think ultimately it just comes down to we try to emulate a lot of that pressure in practice so that when they're in those moments, they don't flinch. And I thought our players, we didn't flinch today.
We go to Dennis and then we come down here.
For Charlotte, there was a lot of momentum swings throughout the game. Why was your group able not to panic when they made their runs, when they surged a little bit?
Yeah, I think our leadership really stepped up. Like after we scored, we brought it in. We said, even though we had a goal and it was a great play, we just got to stay calm, make smart decisions. And you just, in these types of games, you don't want to get too high or too low. You kind of want to stay in that middle ground so you don't let the game get away from you. So I think we did a really good job listening to our leaders and just embodying a sense of confidence throughout all the different aspects of the game.
Coach, just a little bit about the underclassmen on this team. We talked about Cap ripping the net off the goal. That was a beautiful
That was a sick shot, right?
The draw controls as well. Syverson just dominating in the fourth quarter, even going to Julia Fusco, icing the game by interception.
Julia saved Alex,
Yeah.
his sister. So Alex shot that ball at the end. The coach wasn't happy. And Julio bailed her sister out.
Between those three and obviously all the other underclassmen, what are you seeing from those freshmen and sophomores?
I think maturity. I think they're battle tested. This group was under the gun. There's a lot of people that didn't want this day to happen, right? And I think that's something where it made me really want it more for them. And those kids grew up quick. Julia is a great example. She had a tough week of practice last week. She was in the Chateau Bow Wow, as I like to call it. So, and she stepped up, was great in the semifinal, right? I thought she made some key plays today. And I think those, it's just experience. The only way to get experience is to get experience. You can't buy it in a store. You can't teach experience. You gotta live it. You gotta be part of it. And this group's grown up a lot. You look back, we had some tough losses. We couldn't get a save, couldn't win a draw against Hopkins, right? And now those two units have solidified themselves, right? And you're just growing. We graduated 500 points, not career points, 500 points last year. Kids have scored points in the season. And a new group stepped up, and Charlotte is obviously somebody who, had a huge day again and been somebody that we're really fired up that she chose to come here and has been a killer on the offensive end. Avery, we knew we had the anchor back there defensively, and so we knew it was all going to be there. And I think our senior leadership helps mentor those younger kids. And I think that's a big part of it. When it's a player-driven team and program, it's just stronger because they believe in the rules. They believe in the way we do business. They believe in the hard practices, where some kids would be like, I'm not doing this. It's not for everybody here, just the people that like to win a lot.
What, one or two more?
Yeah, 15-4 on Thursday. I think the one negative you took from that game was the turnovers, and then just now you were talking about how great you were in not turning over the ball today. What went into that change in just a 2-day turnaround?
We were awful the other game, the last game. It was one of the worst games we played all year. And that's a tribute to Elon. They made us play that way. But we were not very good. So, and I think it was something where my biggest stat. These guys will tell you. I come in at halftime, I read the turnovers because those are possessions, right? And 17-8 were the possession difference. They turned the ball over 17 times. So the difference is 9. We won by 2, right? So they had 9 more offensive possessions. Maybe it's a different situation. So those are, in lacrosse, more games are lost than won, and it starts with turning the ball over. So that's just, our kids have been really good with that all year. That game, we were reckless. I walked in the locker room today, a lot of kids haven't been in this kind of pressure. And I just said, hey, listen, this is lacrosse. This isn't about how many people are in stands. This isn't about a trophy at the end. You get that. That happens. This is about what happens inside that field. This is why you came here. You came here for days like this. You're used to that. We're used to this as a team. Let's just go walk the walk. And they did.